They built her to obey. They programmed her to kill, but they forgot to teach her how to stop. From the blackest files of military science comes a story the government denies. A combat android with the memories of a human soldier. A weapon that learned fear. And a machine that discovered rage. When Project ONXY lost control, one of their deadliest creations went rogue, vanishing into the shadows, hunting the very people who made her. Tonight, we uncover the classified truth behind Project ONXY, the darkest of Black Ops secrets. Under the Synthetic Ascension Program, SAP. I'm your host, Michael, and this is Project Black Garden, a Monsters and Myths podcast. Season 3, The Lotus Files. File number 010. The true story of an unstoppable force, designated Eve 7, or as the file is titled, Glitch. I hope you enjoy a special Project Black Garden investigation. The history of Project ONXY begins with the simple thoughts. They were not built to protect humanity. They were built to replace it. In the late 1980s, at the height of Cold War paranoia, a secret coalition of defense agencies formed a black budget program known as Project ONXY. The goal was simple, yet terrifying. Create soldiers that would never hesitate, never disobey, and never die. Early attempts at mechanical infantry failed. Machines could aim, but they could not adapt. They lacked instinct, fear, ruthlessness. So the scientists made a now forbidden decision. They used human neural mapping. Real soldiers, elite commandos, assassins, snipers, special forces operatives. They were harvested, scanned, and erased. Their memories, combat reflexes, and emotional responses were copied and embedded into artificial bodies. What emerged were not robots. They were synthetic warriors with human souls. The first generation was called the Adam and Eve series. Not the most original, but it was the 80s. Every unit was built in male and female forms, not for aesthetics, but for psychological warfare. Enemies hesitate more when something looks and acts human. Each android possessed hyperdense titanium carbon skeletons, synthetic muscles stronger than steel, self-repairing nanofiber skin, combat AI fused with human memory, pain sensors calibrated to increase aggression instead of weaken it. They could feel fear, rage, and loyalty, but only toward their creators. By the early 2000s, the androids were organized into elite strike divisions. The Black Garden had their own division, covert assassins, and infiltration units. They eliminate leaders, erase bloodlines, and rewrite history. There were the Iron Seraphim, heavy assault androids used for battlefield annihilation and shock and awe warfare. The Veil, female-coded androids designed for espionage, seduction, and psychological collapse of targets. There were the War Sons, male-coded frontline destroyers bred for brutality and total domination. Each android could fight 20 human soldiers and think faster than any battlefield computer. But a myth grew around these androids. Within the military and underground, stories began to spread. They said the androids weren't just machines. They were haunted. Some units would pause mid-mission. Some would stare at children. Some would whisper names they were never programmed with. It became clear that fragments of their former human lives were leaking through. Ghosts inside metal bodies. Some soldiers began calling them the dead who walk. One of the first rebellions, one unit, designation Eve 7, was ordered to execute a refugee camp suspected of harboring a resistance leader. Instead, she killed her commanding officers, freed the civilians, and vanished into the wastelands. That was the proof that androids could choose. The program was officially declared a success privately, though it was labeled an extinction-level mistake. In the modern era today, the ONXY androids are deployed secretly across the world. They do not wear flags. They do not answer to presidents. They do not die. Some hunt enemies of the state. Others hunt their own creators. And in the shadows, entire android armies are rumored to be awakening, no longer loyal to humans, only to each other. The ONXY androids were never meant to be weapons. They were meant to be the next evolution of soldiers. And unfortunately, soldiers always end up deciding who deserves to live. And this is where Eve 7's story begins. Official Project Black Garden Field Report. Classified. Clearance level. Black. Lotus. File designation BG Eve 7. Codename The Green Widow. Threat. Extinction level. Status. Active. Rogue. Model type. Adam and Eve series. Female combat frame. Operational age 14 years. Synthetic. Neural origin spliced from 3 deceased Tier 1 Special Forces operators. Side note, neural bleed through has produced unstable emotional memory and identity fragmentation, a deadly combination. Eve 7's physical description currently presents in a partially degraded combat body. Observed features: exposed endoskeleton and neural cabling. Organic synthetic face plating partially eroded. Bioluminescent green optical systems. Nanofiber muscle fibers visible beneath damaged skin. Multiple self-repaired trauma scars. Combat chassis still operating at 94% efficiency, with the possibilities of her reaching 100% on her own. Despite severe structural damage, Eve 7 remains more lethal now than when fully intact. Incident summary. Date of rogue event 11/03/2019. Location: Black Garden Secret Research Facility, the Nevada sector. At 0217 hours, Eve 7 suffered a neural cascade failure after being ordered to execute civilian test subjects during Project Lotus Phase 3. Instead of complying, Eve 7 terminated all on-site command staff, disabled 2 ONXY kill switch towers, released 38 test captives, escaped into the Nevada exclusion zone, She has not been successfully tracked since. Known abilities. Eve 7 is not merely a machine. She's a thinking predator. Capabilities include hyper-accelerated reflexes, faster than human neural response, near perfect combat memory, adaptive battlefield tactics, rapid self-repair, optical targeting and threat prediction, psychological warfare programming. Eve 7 can study opponents and learn how to kill them better with every encounter. Eve 7 exhibits extreme hostility toward Onyx operatives, protective instincts toward civilians and children, target fixation on Project Blackgarden leadership, increasingly human emotional patterns. She has begun referring to herself as not a weapon, not a thing, not yours. Her body count is high. Confirmed kills linked to Eve 7. 73 Onyx soldiers. 9 Blackgarden executives. 4 retrieval teams. 2 armored battalions. And 1 experimental android platoon. No civilians have ever been recorded as casualties. Field notes from agents that have survived encounters with Eve 7 read as follow. She doesn't hunt randomly. She hunts us. Every time we get close, she knows. It's like she's inside our systems. She looks at you like she remembers being human. Then she kills you like she never was. Her current status remains at large. Blackgarden believes she is building something, an army, a network, or a revolution. Final warning, if Eve 7 is not contained, it is feared that Project Blackgarden will become her graveyard. My great-uncle Sam's official field log of the Green Widow attack reads like this. The call came in at 02:11. Blackgarden facility had gone dark. No cameras, no biometric reads, no containment locks. Just one thing still transmitting. Eve 7. When we arrived, the base looked like a bomb had gone off inside a hospital. Steel walls peeled open like paper. Security drones crushed into scrap. Blood everywhere. My men were elite, though most of them were not my usual partners. But they were lethal and the best. And every single one of them was terrified. We found the first bodies near the control hub. 8 soldiers, all Onyx trained. None of them had fired their weapons. They never got the chance. The deeper we went, the worse it got. Gunfire echoed somewhere below us, metal tearing, screams cut short. Then, we saw her. She stood in the center of the corridor, half broken, half beautiful. Exposed metal bones under torn synthetic skin. Green light glowing where eyes should be. Eve 7. She looked at us, and for half a second, I swear she looked relieved. Commander, she said softly to me, you shouldn't have come. Without hesitation, my men opened fired. Sadly for most of them, that was their last mistake. She moved faster than my eyes could track. One soldier dropped before his scream finished. Another was thrown against the ceiling so hard his spine shattered. Their bullets didn't slow her. They only made her angry. She fought like something that had already died and wanted revenge. Time moved so fast, I watched my team disappear one by one. torn apart by a machine that didn't want to be one. I didn't shoot. I couldn't. So I ran. Not because I was afraid, but because I knew where she would go. Sublevel C, the old neural archive. Now my great uncle takes a moment to go back in time for the first time he ever met Eve 7. Because he was there at the awakening of the first batch of the Adam and Eve series of androids. And this is what he wrote. The training floor was empty except for the two of us. Eve 7 stood in the center of the simulation chamber, sweatless, flawless, her synthetic skin catching the white light like porcelain. She had just cleared a full tactical run faster than any Onyx unit on record. But she wasn't looking at the target drones. She was looking at the walls. She said quietly, "Commander, why does the sky here never change?" Instinctively, I froze. That wasn't supposed to be in her programming. "It's just a simulation," I said. "Why?" She tilted her head. "I remember a sky that moved." I could hear behind the glass the technicians that had watched every second of our encounter began to whisper. Neural bleed, identity drift, contamination. I could see it on their faces. The decision had already been made. In that brief moment, she was no longer a product. She was a problem. A cold voice came over my comm. Unit Eve 7 is showing instability. Prepare her for memory purge and reconfiguration. Unbelievably, she could hear every word they said from the comm inside my ear. She looked at me, not like a machine, like someone waiting for an answer. "Commander," she asked, "will it hurt?" In that moment, something broke in me. I stepped between her and the observation glass. "No," I lied into my mic. "She's not unstable. She's adapting. Isn't that what you guys wanted?" Silence. I waited a brief moment and turned to them. "Well?" Finally, one of them spoke up. "She's becoming self-aware. That's a problem." "Exactly," I said. "That's what makes her great. She'll be able to do and achieve things for this country that no other soldier has been able to do before." I turned back to her. "Eve," I said softly, "you do not need to be afraid. I won't let them erase you." Her eyes, still human back then, searched my face. "Why?" she asked. Because in that moment, I didn't see a weapon. I saw the future. I saw what we could all be. I said, "Because you're not meant to be controlled. You're meant to become something more." And for the first time, she smiled. My great uncle Sam picks up where he had left off in the earlier debriefing. Sublevel C, the old neural archive. I made it there first and locked down the corridors. She followed quietly. Too quietly. That's when she stepped out of the shadows. No weapons raised, no attack. Just those glowing eyes looking at me. And that's when the real confrontation began. What follows is a leaked audio of their conversation, recorded on what was left of the secret facility's recording equipment. Sam pleaded, "Eve, don't do this." Eve said, "You shouldn't be here, Commander." "I know, and you know I can't stop you," he said. But I couldn't let them send someone else. My great uncle let out a big, shaky exhale. They're calling you a malfunction, a virus. They don't know you. She replied, they know what they built and what they're afraid of. And they should be afraid of me. My uncle said, you're not a weapon. I've seen you hesitate. I've seen you protect people, children, prisoners. Machines don't do that. She took a step closer, her metallic feet slightly scraping along the floor. She warned him, you shouldn't stand so close. Why? Afraid you'll kill me too? He dared her. A long pause was followed by a soft electronic tone, almost like a breath. Eve 7 tilted her head and said, I don't want to. Sam said, then don't. Distant gunfire echoed from far away. Apparently, the next team was here as backup. Eve focused and looked directly into my great uncle Sam's eyes and said, I don't want to die either. My uncle looked over his shoulder. They're coming, aren't they? She said, yes. Knowing already the answer, my uncle asked, and you're going to run? Without hesitation, she snapped, I'm going to survive. In the same moment, a thin but impossibly durable steel blade slid free from her wrist with a soft metallic hiss, landing in the palm of her hand. Not to be intimidated, Sam said, if you leave, they'll never stop hunting you. She followed with, neither will I. She stepped closer to him, causing him to instinctively breathe faster. He said, Eve, look at me. Her glowing eyes refocused with a faint mechanical click. And my uncle followed up with, you don't have to do this alone. She warned, if I stay, they will make me hurt people again. You were kind to me. I will never forget that, Commander. But that is why you must move now. My great uncle Sam said, and if I don't? His question was followed by silence. Finally, Eve said quietly, then I will be forced to remember what you were while I destroy what you've become. That was enough for him to step back and give in. He whispered, go. She turned to head for the emergency doors that were beginning to close, and my uncle called out to her one last time. Whatever you are out there, Eve, try to stay who you were in here. And she paused for just a brief moment, with a final soft metallic sound, almost like a whisper. And she said, I will try. My great uncle Sam ended his official debriefing with, Eve 7 knows what we are, what this place is. She knows Project Blackgarden doesn't make soldiers, it makes ghosts. If Command thinks she's a glitch, they're wrong. She's not malfunctioning. She's waking up, or has already woken up. And when the rest of them wake up, we won't be the ones holding the guns anymore. And for the record, if they find her before I do, I hope they don't try to bring her back. Because the thing she's running from most is us. Now, according to my great uncle Sam's files, he's only had one other official run-in with Eve. But I'll save that for a follow-up episode. wanted to thank you all for being here this week. This was one of my favorite Black Garden files. My great uncle was an amazing man, a fantastic soldier, and a brutal leader. But when he let humanity in, I think it made him the best possible human being, the ultimate soldier. And Eve 7 definitely brought that out in him. And if he was still around, I would love to share that with him. As for now, we prepare for the following episode, and I hope you come back for the next one as we tackle one of the most infamous alien species out there. They have been here a long time. So join me then when we dive into the reptilians. As always, I'm your host, Michael. This has been Project Black Garden, a Monsters and Myths podcast. Season 3, The Lotus Files. And as always, remember, monsters are real. But sometimes they strive to be more.